Greetings, good afternoon. Welcome to day 21 of Project Dig. Project Dig is a game that we just started working on, and it's a 2D multiplayer automation survival sandbox game that I am developing entirely here on stream and then uploading the VODs onto YouTube. You can see my schedule down below. Welcome. So we're going to be, as always, picking up where we left off, which is dealing with events. And then once we kind of are happy with that, I think we're mostly done. We're going to do some string hashing and then move on to the asset cache. At least we'll see how far we can get into all of that. So this is the event that we were working on yesterday. It's a really simple event. So events it make it possible to register a group of functions to something and then invoke all of those functions simultaneously. And so a good example would be, let's say you want to open up a door, then you can have a callback on that door that says, hey, let's open it. And maybe you could just have the basic logic of like, hey, whenever the player interacts with this entity, we want to open the door, which means to play the open animation and some open sound and disable the collision. Then we might have another callback that also listens on the like interact, or maybe we have like for Korea, what I ended up doing is having a open animation, open event that is played whenever you interact with the door, and that could trigger something else. It could do like maybe there's a trap on the door, and so a trap is triggered, or maybe you want to have like a cutscene play or a monster aggro or whatever. Like you could tie events to those entities, and so you could do that with this. So it's a really basic templated class, which has a callback type, which is a function that has the signature of a bool, and t of whatever you specify are the parameters. And then you can listen and pass in a callback. So an event is listening, or more of allergies. I was working out in the yard this morning, and it's always the worst after doing that. You can probably tell my face. I think my camera's maybe a little high in one of the settings. Maybe the gain. I think the gain, my face looks very red. But yeah, it is. I'm a little flushed and everything from the allergies. Yeah, anyways, sorry. So you can have a function listen to an event by passing in function in the listen, and you get back a callback handle, which is an ID that you can use to remove that event. So if you care about removing it, that's how you would do that, is you would just pass in the callback handle. And then you can clear an event if you don't want any of the listeners to be listening anymore. And then lastly, you can invoke which You just pass in all of the parameters that, you specified. I'm not sure if I like this. I wonder if there's a better way to go about doing this so that way it could like automatically figure out what you want or something. I'm not sure. We'll see if this is a good interface for it. So here's our callback data, which contains the ID and the callback. And so whenever we want to remove the callback, we just look for the callback data that has the ID matching the handle that was passed in. We have all of our callbacks. I did this one thing with invoking where once you start invoking right here, I set invoking to true, and then I assert that we are not invoking anywhere else. That's just so that way we never accidentally like invoke an event and then try to remove or clear or do something bad with it. If you do want to remove an event while it's running, you can return false from the function, the callback, and that will tell the event, hey, this callback is no longer interested in receive or being called whenever this event is triggered or invoked. So yeah, that's it so far. It's really simple. I was playing around with like what that might look like. I think what we should do now is just write like 1 or 2 unit tests for this. It would be really simple, just like testing it, making sure that it's working. And then we can, I think, start working on the string hashing. The hashed strings. Okay, so unit testing, fun stuff. I feel like this is like becoming a pattern where I write something one day, and then we write the unit test for it later. It'd be nice if I could get it all in one, but unfortunately, it's just not working out that way. Okay, so, all right, I actually need to. It's the wrong. Okay, so this is another utility test. So we're using catch2 for our unit tests. And you can see we have quite a bit here. The unit testing has already proven to be quite useful. I don't like writing the tests, but I am very happy that we are. And I want to continue to do that. I don't really think we need much here as far as the unit testing goes. I mean, as far as events go. Okay, so siege utility event. So what do we need to do here? Thinking. Do we care about a count at all? Like how many things are listening? I don't know if we do. I don't think we do. I don't think so. Yeah, some of these are super simple. I don't even know like if this makes sense. Hey Hutch, I learned that unit testing everything will help in longer run when I had a test-driven development project. Really hated that at first, but now I try to do it all the time to decrease defect and bug count. Yeah, I think it can like with almost everything you should do it in moderation. You know, if you don't do it at all, then you're going to get burned that way. If you do it too much, you're probably just wasting time. Like, there is definitely a balance to writing unit tests. I'm not sure exactly what that balance is yet. But it's definitely proven useful, and I think it will absolutely prove much more useful in the future when we are like wanting to tweak things. You know, oh hey, we need to get some more performance out of this thing. We can do that with a lot more confidence that we're not going to have a regression because we can just run a unit test and see if like great things break. Of course, there's like integration testing and whatnot that we might need to do as well to help with making sure that things don't break on a higher level, but still. Hey Python scripter, you're welcome to ask a question here, but I would recommend that a website such as Stack Overflow would be a much better place to ask questions about programming because you can format your code better and have a much more lengthier description of what's going on than what you would be able to do here in Twitch chat. So for this, I need like a whoops, not writing Python. What I might do here, I'm not sure if this is weird or not. Just realized that you could add in multiples. I don't know if I like that. What's wrong with this? Static constant 32. Oh, whoops. I said it's const. It cannot be const. Oh yeah, and since it's static, that means it will always be initialized to 0, so we should probably... Well, I think in this case it's fine, whatever. I'm very new to coding, like 30 minutes ago. Yeah, Python scripter. I would recommend going to places like Stack Overflow and the Unity forums. I think it's this here, right? Community. Yeah, I don't use Unity here. Oh look, there's an answers page. Yeah. So I would check that out as well as Stack Overflow. And I would also recommend just searching for something like C# interactive. Whoops. Interactive course or something like that. Udemy, whatever, something along these lines. LearnCS.org. Yeah, I would recommend investing some time in that. I know there's like a desire to get that immediate feedback, especially in something like Unity, but you'll also be able to get very immediate feedback with this interactive courses that will be much more productive in helping you learn how to code rather than just playing around in Unity. So I recommend like investing some time up front to learn C#, and there's other programming languages you're welcome to learn. If you're wanting to use Unity, then C# is what you should definitely do. Yeah, so I would recommend something like that. Planning to start streaming myself probably like once a week because of my busy schedule. What are your suggestions and tips for it? Yeah, Hutch, suggestions and tips. I would say the most important thing is talking a lot, just trying to explain your thought process. I don't know about other people, but for myself, whenever I go to a stream, if it's game dev or gameplay or whatever, if it's just someone playing a game or programming silently and nothing else, that's like the most boring thing ever. I'm like, this isn't interesting. I could go do this myself. I know some people like that type of thing. Like there are like silent let's plays where someone just plays through a game, and so it's like you can experience the game without having to play it, so that way you could like play a game while on the treadmill or something. But I think the majority of people prefer you to talk. Yeah, Python's scripters. I don't know what your issue is. You would have to post like the error message and everything, which is why I recommended posting on something like Stack Overflow, because you would be able to give more detailed explanation of what's going on, at least hopefully. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. I need to say, like, this would be a UN32 type, right? Because we want to be able to listen here. So this would be like, oh wait, sorry. Listener. So if I just listened, I don't even know. I guess what we would do is maybe just say, well, this should require that it's, I guess it should be equal to 1 technically. That feels kind of weird. I don't even know if this is really, maybe this isn't interesting. Can listen to events. Maybe what we'll just do is this. Event invoke. Let's just set that to 5. And then require that the S event value is equal to 5. Severity code, the name RB does not exist in the current context. Sounds like you need to be setting that variable RB to something. It's not set at all. Yeah, that would be your problem. Yeah, Googling an issue is typically your go-to. Yeah, Hutch, besides talking a lot, I just make sure that you set your expectations properly. Whenever you start streaming, it's low. There's a good chance you'll only have 1 or 2 viewers. That's okay. everyone starts that way. Find out what you like about it. What your goals are. And listen to event. Can remove. Can remove an event. Oops. So that should be true, and then if we try to run it again, it should be false, which means that it fails. You can't remove an event after it's already been removed. One thing I might do, maybe we'll do this. Whoops. Maybe I should rename it. Oh yeah, that's right. It's really weird about that. Okay, never mind. What I was going to do is make a new function here, which is the subtract listener. Awesome. That's cool. Sounds like good reasons. Yeah, talking a lot will help improve your English, I'm sure. Okay, so what I think I want to do now, can listen, can multi-listen to an event. I don't know if that's really what I want to call it, but let's set s event value equal to, oh, that's right, that it's not going to, I guess I should actually set it up here, huh? So every single time it gets reset to 0. Yeah. But in this case, I was thinking of setting it to something more like 3. And so then we can add the listener and remove listener. So we have 2. And then whenever we call invoke, pass in 5, it should add it and then subtract from it. So then we can just say that require the s event value is equal to 3. Oh, whoops, not subtract. Or not remove, I meant to say subtract. What else did we want to test? I think it would be good. Well, I guess what we can do, oh, whoops. One thing we could do is try to say event.invoke 5 and assert, oops, require that it's not called, so that should now be equal to 0. What did you do yesterday? What's the current progress of physics? Yesterday we finished up our rectangle? No, our right stream, that's right. The serialization. So we did serialization of read stream and write stream, wrote unit tests for it, which is right here, making sure that's all working. And then we worked on this event class right here, which we're writing unit tests for now. Physics are broken still. I'll come back to it soon, in a few days. I was struggling with it, and there's other things I wanted to kind of do, so Yeah. What else do we need to do with this? There was something I thought of and then I forgot. I don't remember what I was wanting to try. Let's see if this compiles. Hey, Cooler, what's up? Man, I was feeling good, but all of a sudden I'm tired. I did wake up a lot early today. I don't know why, like, just been waking up at like 6:30 every day now. Oh, whoops, that's wrong. That needs to be end. And this needs to be end. What's the problem here? Says, something wrong with this. Trying to call a function. So iter. Oh, right. I forgot that I changed it to be a callback. I mean, I don't really have to do references. I mean, we could just do this, right? I don't think there's any difference there. Okay, it says syntax error should be preceded by fallback. Oh, I totally did this wrong. What is this? What is this supposed to be? Like args? Let me look up. Testing. Oh yes, that was what I was trying to think of. Ah, thank you. Yes. So what we could do for that is a removal listener or something like that, which maybe just takes a bool. So we need to make a new thing. Should remove. And we could just have a return, right? Return should remove. Yeah. We'll need to create a new event for that. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Can remove event with return value, which will need to have a new thing here, which is a event bool event, and we'll just say that that is going to listen to our removal listener And then we want to invoke true, and I guess I don't know if it's actually useful. I guess what we could do is right now there's no way for me to say, hey, do we have this current? Yeah. Be sure to check your D vitamin. Yeah, I probably should. I was outside for a while today. That's something. Doing some yard work. Yeah, I wonder if I should have like a void has, oh not void, bool has. I don't know how much I like this. I mean, that's all it is. Do you enjoy coding? Yes, I'm inclined to say that I love doing it. Okay, cool. That's all we need there. We have it. Return true. If we can't find it, return false. I'm not sure how much we actually will want to use that, but maybe. So we could then do something like this here where we say that it doesn't have it anymore. We can say it has it. We should have this handle. When we remove it, it should return true, and then we can't remove it anymore, and then maybe even assert that we can't, yeah, we don't have it and we can't remove it, and then I don't know if we really need to do that, right? I guess, like, yeah, maybe that's okay. Just to make sure, like, hey, not only did we remove it, but it's not even, like, calling, it won't call that anymore. So we actually did remove it. And by doing that, we can then have this removal listener where we can invoke it, and we should be able to say it has it. And then we can invoke it again and pass in false, and then we should say that it shouldn't exist anymore. Because this removal listener is just returning whatever we pass in. I think that's good. Oh, this needs to be bool event, my bad. Bool event. Has handle. Oh, whoops. We need to call back handle. Sounds good. We're still having a compiler issue with that. What's going on here? It doesn't like this. I'm not doing this right. I think it needs to be like TARGs or something. I forget. Hey, Apple Juice, what's up? How's it going? Verdict. I think that's verdict arguments. Maybe that's all I need to do is to say ... valid, but the arguments cannot be accessed. Right. Oh, I see. So my problem, yeah, I just need to say like targs dot dot dot, and then this can be args, right? I think that's right. Or do I have to do it some other way? Okay, maybe that's wrong. T dot dot dot, then args. Okay, thanks. T dot dot dot, args. I've never written a function like this. And then args dot 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 dot. Okay, cool, thanks. I was like, I'm doing this wrong. I don't know exactly what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so it's the type dot dot dot. That makes sense because we have all of the types. And then let's return the value. Oh, right. This needs to return true. That's one thing that sucks about this, is that it always has to return a value. Oh well. Cool. Let's see if it works. Heyo. First try. I mean, once it compiled. Nice. So we have that working, testing out. It's good. It's good. I think that's enough tests. Seems to be working. So let's commit our event stuff. Basic event class. With unit tests. Okay. Nice. So we're done with that for now. I don't know what I really want to do with this. It's like everything's work in progress, so it's like, what does really completed mean? We're going to come back to this someday, right? Like, well, there's a good chance. It's something like, oh, std function is not good enough sometimes. We need to change it. Or, hey, actually, we don't really like how our events are set up, so we want to change it. Or I don't know. I think the events are okay. I think they are. The thing that sucks about the events right now that I think about it, yeah, this does suck. Okay. Yeah, this kind of sucks. Is you can't, since the event is templated, you can't store a list of events, right? I guess what you'd have to do is have like a base class that event derives from, right? That kind of sucks. I don't like that. I don't know if there's another way to do this though, because the function itself needs to be templated, right? Do you support handlers that are member functions? That event API looks pretty neat. I might have to steal that. Sure. Well, you know how you can get it. Do you support handlers that are member functions? Yeah, I mean, it's just a std function. So anything that you pass in, this callback is, all it just needs to have is this signature. But the thing I don't like about this is that, so you have to define it up front. So like, you know, let's say we have this event here, just like what we're doing over in here. We're like, oh, this is an event with uint32. Like that's cool, but what if you want to have another event that's like a, it takes like a bool and a uint32 or something. Like this is the player ID and this is, like this might be an, probably oftentimes we'll say like, oh, we want an entity and a vector or something along those lines. And this is like mouse clicked or whatever, I don't know. And there's no way to like store these in a list at all. Maybe that's okay. But I was thinking that we might want to have something like what I did for Korea, maybe, is where we have a component, or let's just say struct event component. This might not work, because this isn't a simple type, which kind of goes, this is no longer like just a plain old data, but like have a unordered map of, maybe a hashed string to an event, and then we could say, oh, this is all of the events within the event component. And so then we could just, later say, oh, for this event component, if we have an event component, let me scroll up some. We would want to be able to say like the events, maybe, and so this is the thing that I want to work on next, is like a hash string. Preferably it'd be something more like this, interact underscore HS or something, hash string. And so that's just a literal, and then we could say, invoke, something like that. And that could be, whatever. But the problem with this is that we can't have, like, this can't just be an event, right? It needs to be more like, a templated event. Yeah, so I don't know what we could do about that. The best thing I can think of right now is where probably would need like a game event base class, like a base event. Like if we did, I don't know if I like this, but I'm just saying, like, I think this would be one solution, is if we had a class base event that this derives from, and we could, I'm trying to remember how this works. I think it'd just be kind of like this, right? I guess we would need to specialize or like add in all of these to the base event. It kind of sucks though. Then it's using, yeah, I'm not crazy about that. And a template function can deduce the correct arguments. Yeah. Yeah. Feel like there's probably a better way to go about doing this. I'm just not sure what. We'll figure it out whenever we get to this point, because I'm not positive we want to do this. And this is the only time we're actually going to care about it. Anytime that we're setting up an event, it's okay for us to just like define this. Like let's say that we have, yeah, if we have an event specified somewhere, I don't know where we're going to be using events. Let's say in our asset cache, we'll want to say, hey, this file has been loaded. here's like the handle to it, or here's the data. And so that's going to be an event that will have like very specific arguments. And so it'll just be like defined, by itself. We don't need to be storing it in some map or anything like that with, arbitrary event types. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be okay. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, welcome to the stream. For anyone that's new, welcome to the stream. I was going to say, and then I kind of injected myself there, that I'm streaming every single day, putting all the VODs up onto YouTube, and also I have made the code available through GitLab if you are a Patreon backer or supporter, patron person thing. And yeah, so you're welcome to do that. I right now it's only available if you are a robot tier, which is $16. I've kind of been thinking about lowering that. I feel like that might be a little high because while I want to. You also get you pre-order the game by doing this. I want to make it so more people can get access to the code, and I feel like maybe $16 might be a bit much, because it is a monthly thing. I welcome feedback on that. But yeah, so right now, if you back, what is it called? Pledge, you can get access to the code. Yeah, I welcome feedback on that. And that's probably the worst Patreon pitch you've ever heard. It's okay. I'm a programmer, not a marketer. So, anyways, let's work on string hashing. So I want to do this cool thing that I kind of have seen around. File time string hashing, maybe this. Something kind of like that. I'm looking for. There's this common one I've seen in a lot of places. But I'm not seeing it. There it is. FNV 1A. Hey, Fergie, what's up? So yeah, I actually want the const expression one. So it has some amazing values here. So these are prime numbers. So hashing is like some crazy stuff with prime numbers, and yeah, it's I think it's probably not that complicated if you actually understand it. Whoops, sorry. But if you're just looking at it, it looks like black magic. Let's go into here and add in a new file. We're going to call it a string, or maybe hashed string. I don't know if I like putting this in its own namespace. I'm not sure about this. Code license public domain or equivalent. think I remember seeing this one. We use a 32-bit string hashes instead of strings in many places to save memory and improve performance. When there's a risk for collision, we use 64-bit hashes instead. At a number of places in the code, we want to check these hashes against predefined values. For example, we may want to check if a certain robot is the root point. Yeah. That's cool. I feel like I might know this person. Sven. Oh yeah, this is the guy who's doing luck stuff. Okay, cool, yeah. Thought I was following him, maybe not. That's cool. Const expression map. Yeah, I mean, that's if we want to store them in a map, right? Or something like that. Well, we can do, yeah, I don't know exactly what we want yet. Yeah, this is cool. So we want to do something like this. So it like is a recursive function. There's another one, FNV1A, that I saw. Here's the algorithm. Hash is equal to the offset basis for each byte of data to be hashed. Hash is equal to the hash times this prime. And then the hash is equal to XOR of the byte of data. Return the hash. And for the 1A, it flips it. Gotcha. And so then, like, this is one of the primes, or these are two primes. So you can see, it gets the hash value, and then it ORs that. Oh wait, that's the byte of data XOR. Oh, he just puts it in one line. I see. So this says if it reaches the end of the string. Yeah. I think, yeah, there's this other one I saw, I was looking at in here. He does something pretty similar. A string. Here's the 1A traits. He does it kind of differently, but similarly. I don't see where his actual hashing function is. Hash helper. Maybe this is it. Yeah, this is it. The good. current. That's the pointer. Prime. Okay, gotcha. What does this no except do? I know it says that there's no exception, but like, what does it actually do? Gotcha. I'm surprised the compiler doesn't figure that out automatically. Like, can I just say no except for basically all of my functions? Like, I never throw, so it would only be if it's calling something. I guess that's the tricky thing, is a lot of functions will end up calling another function. It's really hard to deduce when something can't throw. Yeah, you'd have to just know that, like, if the call stack ends there. So if you don't make any further calls, then that's probably the easiest way. It will complain if you declare something no except. That's not no except. Yeah, that's pretty awkward. You're like, hey, I want to do this optimization. No, you can't because you're not allowed to. Well, then why don't you tell me when I'm allowed to? Or yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so let's do this. I think the FNVA one were these prime numbers. Here we go. That's the 64-bit. Where's the 32-bit one? I saw it earlier. Oh, here we go. That's the prime offset basis. Wait, what's the offset? Hash is equal to the offset. Wait, then where? Where do we use offset in here? Whenever it calls it, oh, I see. That's the initial value. Got it. Right. So, sorry, gonna sneeze. One sec. Okay, done with that. Hey, Leo, what's up? Okay, so what we want, let's do a uint32 type. So we're going to have two. I guess we'll have like a hash. What do we want to call this? Like, I'm just. Yeah, so those are like the long names. I don't want to call it. I guess we could do something like that for the long name. And then you know, wrap it in something. Like we'll have a hasher function for it. Yeah. So what should this be? Hash FNV1A32. Yeah. So what we'll want to do is, yeah, we need to have this be like the starting value. So that should be, I believe, a uint32, which is the hash value. That's the hash. The initial hash. And then we need the actual string itself. Okay, and so this is a really simple function. The reason I'm not like just copying and pasting it is because I want to write it myself, and whenever you copy and paste things, I feel like oftentimes you don't really understand what's going on and you don't like fully absorb it. So I want to, even if I'm like doing pretty much the exact same thing here, I want to be able to understand what is going on. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, but so we need to do this for each byte of data. So yeah, this can be recursive. It seems like that's a pretty basic thing. So we're doing 1A. Maybe I should just copy this. Oops. Wait. There we go. So the XOR is the hat. So we need to return the final value. So if we're at the end of the string, which we can tell if we so this is, yeah, this seems like the easiest way to do it is that's how you can tell you're at the end, right? I think that's what I saw them doing. I never actually like, oh whoops, wrong. Yeah, null terminate it. I guess the other way you could do is just check to see if that's equal to 0, right? I take it that's what this value is. Yeah, it's basically the same. I mean, in that case, can't you just do this? Right? I don't know. Maybe this is a little bit more explicit. Feels wasteful. I don't know. It is at compile time, so it doesn't matter. And who knows? Maybe the compiler solves it. Simplifies it down. So what we want to do is, if we're at the end, that means that we need to return stir. I guess that's one nice thing about this. Actually, we can do it like this. Sorry, not stir. This needs to return hash. If we're not at the end, then what we need to do is say that the hash times the byte of data. Oh, sorry. Add it, byte of data, which is stir 0. And then we need to multiply that by the prime number. And so we need to get that, which is over here. So this is the 32-bit one. There's the 64-bit one. We're gonna put it in a namespace here, so it's not exposed elsewhere. Oh wait. This is in the header file. I'll need to move this. So this is the offset. I don't know why it feels weird to do in both. Okay, so we're going to have the offset and then the prime and then the 64-bit offset and then the 64-bit prime. These need to be 64. This is the prime number right here, and then prime for the 64-bit, and then offset for this. Cool. Oh, that's actually a good point. Is that... Yeah, it's okay. It's fine for now. Yeah. We'll end up hiding a lot of this. Like, what we'll end up doing is something like, just a, you know, hash string or whatever. Or I want the string literal, I think. I like that. And so this will wrap it, so it's just like it takes a const char stir, and it will end up calling the string hash and pass in. What I think I'll do is flip these. So then I could just do stir, and this is FNV1 offset, 32-bit offset. Something along those lines. No except. Yeah. Okay. So we then need to multiply this by the prime. And then I think we need to pass all of that into our string hash function. So it's recursive. And we say stir +1. That all good? I think that's all good. Looks right. Why do you use an anonymous namespace? Because I'm actually going to be putting this into... Oh, whoops. I'm like, what's going on here? I need to put this into a C++ file. And what it will do is just make it so that it's completely hidden outside of this. So like nothing will be able to get access to that or anything. Not exactly what I was going for. I see. Maybe it doesn't matter anymore. Hey, Paul, what's up? Static const is definitely different though. Static means that there's like only one of that thing. And it's created at like initialization for the program. Whereas const says that something can't change. So static const means that, hey, this is initialized at the beginning and whatever the value is set to, it can't ever be changed. But you can have a non-const static variable that you do want to change. I actually did that just earlier over here where I create this static UN32 and then I add it. So the nice thing about like you want to be careful when you are using static variables. Like you can definitely get in trouble using them, but you could like inside of a function specify a variable as being static, which means that that variable is going to be shared over all times that function is called, and if assuming it's used in that function. Did I figure out networking? No, I haven't been thinking about it yet. Oh, I meant to post this, but yeah, maybe this is not. Oh, that's not valid anymore. Maybe this isn't really a good point. I'm not sure. I was kind of using old data, perhaps. Okay, so I think this is the proper hashing method that we want. We have some other examples here. I think I'll just like double check that. So yeah, if they do, there's lots of ways you can do this. Oh, he uses a default variable. Yeah, I guess that works. Multiplied by that. Yep. Seems nice and easy. Value. Yeah, this is fine. Then we can do the 64-bit one, which is just the same, but we just need to change these to be 64. That's it. Oh, and then this needs to be 64 as well, right? Hey, I'm at work. What's up? Re-graveling the driveway? Dang, that sucks. Yeah, I was out doing yard work earlier today. I was digging a trench in the side yard, and then I laid down a corrugated pipe. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, corrugated, and then covered it up so that way we don't have flooding in our backyard. I hooked it up to the downspouts. Fun, lots of fun. Pretty much. I don't know what I want to do with this. Like, how do I want to specify if we need a 64-bit one or not? The difference between it is like, just really, are we worried about collision? Okay, so that's cool. One thing I want to do now is add in, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to do a C++ file. Yeah, and so we can get rid of a lot of this. Well, actually, I don't know. I guess maybe so. Like, we can say that this is inlined, right? I mean, does it matter? It doesn't matter because it's constant expression. Yeah, it shouldn't matter. Yeah. So we should be able to just do this. Oh yeah, yeah. With templates and implementation. Huh? Nani? Okay, so that's cool. Now that we have that, what I want to do is add in our very own. Didn't I do this a while ago? Yes, that's right. I was thinking our timer class has, nope, not timer. Our types class. There we go. That's right. We need a long. So what I want to do is say HS returns a uint32. It requires a long. Oh wait, no, we want it to be a, I think const char pointer stir. I think it's okay with this. Might be wrong. And we want this to return. I need to move this up here. What do I want this to return? I want this to return the, maybe I don't even, I guess I could use that hash string. Pass in the stir. Beautiful. So now with this is the cool thing that we can do that we've been working towards, is if I want to, let's say that, well, I was showing it off earlier. I think I deleted that code. There we go. So now we could do something like this. So we can say interact underscore HS, which means hash string, and this will actually be a uint32. That's probably what we would want to just say. This is a uint32. If we're worried about collision, we could do something else, like, yeah, we could, what would we want to do that? Like, what would that be called? So we're avoiding collision. We could just call it 64. Maybe that's the best way to do it. We could do HS64. Maybe that's fine. The only difference is that it returns is 64, and we need to say this is 64, and that our offset is 64, and that's it. Oh, whoops, and this. Yeah. So if we wanted to, then, yeah, we have the HS64, so we could say that. Which is pretty nice, right? I think so. What are you making? We're working on like hashing a string and using a literal for that. Yep. But more generally, we're working on this game, projectDig, which is a 2D multiplayer automation survival sandbox game. I am streaming development every single day. You can see my schedule down below. I'm posting all the VODs up onto YouTube. So you can check them out there if you're interested. Yeah. So this is cool. I like this. And this is a constant expression, which means it's at runtime. Yeah, I like that. Hey, Ghost, what's up, man? Been a while. How are you doing? I'm good. I'm good. Making some progress here. Was wondering, are you using the Create engine at all, or are you making a new one from scratch? Scratch. We're using some stuff from the Create engine, and by using, I mean we're like the other day we worked on, and this has happened multiple times where it's like, oh, let's take our vector class or rectangle class or our data stream class for serialization and pick it apart. The good stuff, right? It's more of like reference, using it as a reference and kind of, saying like, hey, what's good about this, what's bad, how can we make this better, what were like things that I wish I had during Korea's development, or what are things that I didn't use that I thought I might use. And so we're not actually like copying any code really. I mean, I kind of did a little bit, but um, we're going over everything heavily, making sure that we like it. And a lot of things aren't really compatible with this new engine because it's an entity component system. Uh, Whereas in Korea, I use the component based system. And yeah, it's just like the entire architecture is quite different from Korea's design. So we're having to rethink a lot of things. Couldn't you build this game with Korea's engine? I could, but then I'd hate myself. I mean, I don't want to. I'd rather. Yeah, we've talked about this many times in the past, but basically, I don't know if I would actually be saving myself that much time because I would be dealing with all of the, fallacies of the Korea game engine. Um, and there's a lot of stuff where I thought I was doing something well, and it turned out that I wasn't. Like Python stuff, or I just made decisions that were made for a hobby project, not a commercial game, and so I'm trying to rectify those mistakes through this new game engine. Um, and I think that if I was trying to use Korea's engine, I would still be trying to fix that stuff, and I would just waste a lot of time doing that. Oh, you're using Lua now? There's a consideration. I haven't actually used it yet. I can get access to the engine via Patreon. Yes. I might have to do that so I can tell you all the things I disagree with. Oh, sounds awesome. Yeah, there you can get access to the engine source code through there. Um, yeah, and it's under MIT license, so you can use it for your own games and stuff like that. Yep. Yeah, so the goal is that I want to build up this fairly awesome game engine with everyone, and right now it will be restricted to the patrons, but in the future I'd like to be able to maybe open it up to everyone. Yeah, still figuring that stuff out. Yeah. Okay, so we have this string hashing working. Well, I guess actually I don't know if it's working. I don't really know the best way to tell if it's working or not. One thing that would be cool is a something to wrap around this. Like I saw here, I'm not exactly sure how I want to do this yet. I saw here in this hashed string class or file, he actually has a class called that, which will allow you to um, like wrap it, and it has a const wrapper. What's the helper? What I'm looking for to value. Yeah, not that really. Here it gets the string, the hash string. A string. Um, so I'm not sure how I would want to do this yet, but basically, it'd be cool if we could like be able to, sometimes go back. So in some cases, we're perfectly fine with just using a hash string. So in cases like this where, or sorry, not that, in here where we want to say, oh yeah, events, interact, HS, and we probably don't need to worry about the 64-bit here. That's nice because then this is like a million times more readable than having some number, but it also has that, huge advantage that's a uint32 key instead of something else. And uh, so we have that performance gain with like very minimal readability loss, or if any, actually. The so that's great, but sometimes maybe we want to be able to pass around a string that we actually want to be hashed, but then sometimes we may want to go back to the string, and I'm not really sure the best way to do that. I know I was talking to um, Tim about this, or T-Lock, maybe like a week ago or something, week and a half ago. And he does something like this, and I got a glimpse into what he does, but I didn't see the entire solution. But I could see it being useful where if we want to pass around a string, instead of passing around the string, we pass around this hashed string that, is not going to be that expensive. It'll be very cheap to copy, but it's basically like a handle pointing to a string. And I was thinking that this kind of would do that, but it actually doesn't look like that's the case. So you can get the string back from it, but I don't see the advantage of doing this. You still have a string in here. I guess it's a pointer. I don't know. Like, is this going to be creating that somewhere, right? Whenever you construct the string. Yeah, I don't know. Here's that suffix. HS suffix. I think he does the same thing, the HS. Yeah. Wonder why he would put this here but then the not equal out of it. So yeah, I don't really know exactly how that should work. This might be fine as is for now. I think I need to talk to Tim a little bit more and understand what he's doing with that. It's something that's like, it's this optimization that seems to be fairly common in game dev stuff, that's like super common and so common that like people know how to do it, and it's just like an assumed thing among the people that know how to do it. And I can't really find much information online about it. My best guess is that there's like some, whenever you create like a hash map or whenever you like construct a hash string, that it actually has some like, you know, global or static map that it will add this value to this new string value, or yeah. And so then whenever you want to like get the string back, you can access that map. Does that make sense? So something like this. Maybe you want to say this is a 64, or maybe you would have two. String and turning, maybe. And then this could be like a const char pointer. So that's like our hash strings, and so whenever you create a new hash string, it would just be like, I don't know what, I guess maybe you would want to just, yeah, I don't know what you would want. String and turning, maybe. Yeah, maybe this is it. I wasn't really sure what it would be called. String and turning, string and turn pool. Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, I don't even know if we would need to even have a class. Like, it probably could just be a function. Whoops. Well, I already have that like hash string. Maybe that would be what I would want this to do. Hash string, where it returns a string, and if we wanted to, we could say like, oh yeah, this is a string handle or something like that. And it just takes a const char. And then what it does is it returns, or what, it calculates the hash. I mean, something like this. Yeah. I guess yeah, I don't know. Maybe we would want to. Hash string. Something like this. Right. And then we would want to store it. I don't know if this is right. And then we return the hash. What does invalid token in class, struct, etc.? What does it mean? Yeah, I would use Google to search for the exact issue you are having. You could probably find results on that. But what you provided is not sufficient to actually tell you what's wrong. It means that you put something in one of those that's wrong. Yeah, I don't know if this is quite right, but this is essentially what I was thinking. And so with this, we could, you know, I guess the nice thing about having it be an actual like class or something is that you could have a get function. You don't really need a get function. Like you could say get hashed string, and it returns a const char pointer, and you pass in the string handle, and it just says, okay, whatever is the hash or the handle. Yeah, I don't know if this is actually what we want, but that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm not sure if that's right though. Does that make sense? I don't know. I guess I need to look at the string and turning more. Yeah. So the advantage of this is that then whenever you're passing around a string, you don't have to worry about copying it or anything like that. You could then use the string handle as a key. Yeah, maybe we would want it to be a uint64. It kind of depends on what, like... Yeah, I don't know. Why not create a struct like string hash instead of mapping? I guess I was just thinking that then, because the majority of the time, you don't, well, I guess it depends on how you are using it, right? So, most of the time you don't actually care about the content of the string. It's like, what I'm thinking is, we would want to like hash a string and pass it around a bunch and, you know, use it as a key and blah blah blah, and so that way we could keep it very, you know, fast and cheap to copy. It's just the uint32. But if you ever want to be able to go back to having a the actual string, like, you know, you have some value and okay, now I need to output it or print it or whatever, you can. Yeah, it really depends on how you are using it. If you are constantly looking up the string, the actual string for that string handle, then yeah, creating a struct would probably be better. And I think that's what this guy did here. Actually, I know that's what that's what this guy did. Is he created a class that contains the hash and the const character. So it really depends on how you are using it, I think. But uint64 is size of pointer. Yeah, on 64-bit machines. What about it? So you can use pointer as number instead of hash. This map only works for similar strings caching. Does it? Yeah, I don't really know like how useful this is. I'm not just to be clear. I don't know if this is the correct solution. I was just saying like here's one possible way we could do it. Network string replication by hashes. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually something I could see us maybe trying to do. Is for localization. Yeah, for Korea, what I would do is let's say that you want to tell the client to that some NPC said something. I would pass in the string of that localization key. And sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. I'd pass in the key as the actual string and send that to the client, and then the client will use it. But we could here, if we're using like a uint64 hashed string, then assuming that, and I think this should be the case, that the client and the server would come to the same conclusion of what the hash is for a specific string, then we would be able to just send like a uint64. And there's maybe even better ways to go about doing it. I'm not completely sure, but this is compile time. Yeah. Well, I mean, not this part. This is, yeah, so we have part of it done, which is hashing the string, which is right here, which is compile time. This, it's a const expression, so it's going to be done at compile time. This other way I was talking about possibly doing it is if we wanted to be able to do something like, you know, hash something, pass it around, and then maybe at some point we might want to print it or something. I think unordered map of string will do hashing by default for keys. Yes, but the thing is that we're wanting to be able to not have to worry about like copying a string or doing anything like that. Like I forget what's the size of a string. Yeah, it sounds like it's a 8, which is a basically a pointer, right? Thought it would be more on 64-bit. But anyways, I think oh, it's 40. Okay, yeah, it is bigger. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, it should be more. String view or something like that. The 64 bit debug build is 40. 32-bit. Yeah, 64-bit release build is 32 bits for a, oh sorry, bytes for a string. Yeah, that's what I remembered it being larger than that. So yeah, string is kind of larger. You know, it has the whenever. So my understanding of strings is that whenever you create a string, if it's small enough, it's going to store the string within the string itself. If it's a larger string, like the number of characters, then it will allocate memory for that string and then put the string there, and that's the const char pointer. And then the string itself will um, then have a pointer to that string, as well as like the size of the string, so it knows where it's terminated. And then it sounded like it also has some other data to go along with it, like maybe the amount of space that's allocated. I don't know exactly, so like if you need to resize it, maybe it knows if it can or something. And so whenever you actually like pass around that string, it's copying at least some of that data. um and so what the idea for the string handle is that that's if you're not passing it around like as a reference or something. um The idea with the string handle is that it's something that you could very easily just pass around and save it and store it and do whatever you want, but then you could also be able to get the string back out of it. But yeah, it might be we want to be able to look up the string somehow. I don't know. I think I might need to do some more research on this. I think we want something along these lines. I'm not entirely sure. I have not done quite enough research on it to like confidently say what we would want. If we did do something like this, it would be, we would put some of it in here. Let's say like hash to string. Maybe what I would want to do is change this. Okay, hash. Actually, maybe not. Maybe it's okay like this. Whoops. Yeah. I will do more research on this. I'm going to comment it out for now because I don't actually want to use this, but that's what I am thinking we might want to do. Something along those lines. I think I am going to, let's just like make sure this works somewhere. Where can we do that? What would be a good place? Anywhere. Value can write string. Maybe I'll just test the compilation part. All right, in 32 type. All right, let's see if it compiles. Base event is not found. Oh, whoops. I meant to delete that. Thank you. Underscore HS. Should be right here. Right? Oh, my bad. Here's the size. Cool. Looks like it's working now. Just gonna test 64 and 64. Thank you. Cool. So then we can. Oh, that's not working. Cannot result. Ah. It's right there. I see. I guess I need to do this. A string. It seems like it's supposed to have this. What am I missing here? Okay, it says unsigned and blah blah blah. Yeah, so unresolved external symbol, hash string. So it's not being able to find hash string. But it's right here. Signature is the same. Seems good. What's that? Referenced in function, HS. Is it just not compiling this? It's right here, should be compiling it. So it's saying it can't find this function. So it's trying to use this, and it's saying it can't find it. That shouldn't work. Okay, so that's my bad. Okay, so no wonder why I can't find it. So I guess I need to put all of this up here. Yeah, I mean, that made sense. That makes sense. It does. Like, it's trying to compile it or do it at compile time. Right. Okay, let's fix this stuff. Okay, there we go. Wait, isn't that the same? 21661 36261. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the same, but it really shouldn't be. Yeah, it's just giving us the offset. Okay, I'm doing this wrong then. Oh, whoops, whoops, whoops. Yeah, I did get this flipped around. Okay. Well, I'm glad I was at least testing this a little bit. There we go. Good, 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 good. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about this whole hash string thing yet, but we at least have this done now. What's in our hash string.cpp? It's empty right now. We're definitely getting rid of that. We might want to have this. We would never put that in there anymore. Excuse me. And now that's like empty. Okay, so there's some string hashing stuff. Yeah, I would like to figure that out in the future. Asset cache. Yeah, so I think the next thing we will want to look at is the asset cache. I did a asset cache for Korea, but I think we'll want to kind of completely redo it. Where's that at? There we go. Yeah, it's I think it's going to be very different. Yeah. Yes. I'll have to think about that. But I'm actually going to call it a stream here. Keep it a short day. I'm a little tired and I want to make sure that I'm fresh for the week. And this is kind of a good stopping point. So tomorrow we can start with the asset cache and hopefully get that done in like a day or two. So that's about like loading resources, images, sound. We might want to look at how, yeah, we'll need to look at how that will interface with some of these other libraries that we're going to use, such as Fmon. But yeah, font, sounds, or just all audio, graphics. Those are like the big ones. I guess we might want to do some other things as well. Maybe we'll think about that. But yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll probably spend the first hour or two, maybe even three, talking about the design of the asset cache, and then we'll start working on it. I think most of the work will actually be in the design, and once we kind of figure it out, it's fairly simple. We've been working on some like helper functions like events and this string hashing that should help with that, the stream. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time. You can see the time converted into your time zone down below. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a good rest of your Sunday. Take care.